All right, fans, joining me for the Combat Press World Series of Fighting Fight Week podcast is a lightweight #1 contender, Brian Foster. Brian, how are you?
Good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So I want to get right into things with you, and I want to kind of start from the beginning a little bit as it pertains to the World Series of Fighting. Let's talk about the journey a little bit. So you started with Jake Shields, submission loss, I believe at 170 pounds. So the move from 170 to your present weight of 155, is that because of the loss? Do you feel more comfortable at 55? Was it the division? What prompted the move?
I made plans to drop to 55 prior to that fight, but World Series of Fighting needed an opponent to Jake Shields, and it was a great opportunity for me to get cleared by Vegas, considering my history, and so I jumped on it, man. And unfortunately, I lost, and which made the decision to drop to 55 that much more relevant. And I made it and haven't looked back since.
You certainly haven't. You've been a force to be reckoned with at 55. So the bounce back fight was an absolute destruction of Lura Burley at World Series of Fighting 23. At that point, we talked. You felt you deserved the title shot. Take me from where you were at that point to the decision to sort of participate in the 8-man tournament.
Well, World Series of Fighting actually offered me to fight with Justin Gaethje right after the LaRue fight, but wasn't willing to give me the pay in par with the fight. So it didn't make any sense where I could do the tournament, whoop everybody's ass, and make out with my cash and do well for my family. So it was a choice, a personal choice of my own. I also wanted to make history. I wanted to do what the old school gladiators did, defeat 3 guys in one night. It didn't happen that way, but that was my intentions. The overall goal winning the tournament, and I accomplished that, in which case solidified a title shot anyway. And then we were able to renegotiate my contract and make the pay, par with the fight. So and now everything's in line and everything's gold, bro.
All right, so let's talk about the tournament. So first round loss in a tournament to Joao Zeffirino. Talk about how the World Series of Fighting 25, winning that tournament, overcoming the first round loss, how did that change you as a fighter?
Losing in the first fight, like I said, was not playing the ordeal, dude. I initiated the ground attack. I've gotten really, really confident in my ground game, dude. And I feel I'm the best in the world. I'm one of the more complete fighters in the game. I've been around a long time. So when I initiated that ground attack, I ended up in 50-50, which is a really, really good spot for him, which is one of his favorite ones and one of his high finish rate positions. And, I got scorched there. So we took it to the back, man. We figured some shit out. We figured out play a little bit more on the defensive as far as our grappling and, ground techniques to go, not so much offense. Use our strikes, use our distance, use our wrestling, and dominate. So when we were allowed the chance and the opportunity to come back in, we fully rose to the occasion, excited and ready, and went in and beat the the 2-time #1 contender in Luis Palomino. And, and in the finals, the guy that beat me, which is Joao Zeffirino, and then I defeated him TKO in the second round.
And I was there, and we talked about this after the fight, but I want to touch on it again and see if, in retrospect, your thoughts on it. Because the thing that fascinated me the most about the victory in the finals was that you told me, I knew kind of not where to play with them, but throughout that fight, you were sort of like, you were dipping your toe in the pool, and I believe that there's no way you land that strike that ultimately finished him if you weren't a little bit in a danger area. Did you feel like? You know what I'm saying? So talk to me about how you almost had to extend yourself even though you knew you could put yourself in a bad spot.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm very, very good topside, so I have to be able to play that game. I'm very defensive there. I'm very offensive there. You know what I'm saying? I can counterbalance myself really well. So, it's not necessarily being on top of him and to where he can roll under me and give me 50-50. As long as I can stay away from him at the same time, hover, I knew I would catch him eventually. And that was pretty much primarily our game planning. Even though we, like you said, kept dipping our toe into that pond, a lot of people were scared. A lot of people were scared, like, what the hell is he doing, kind of thing. and we had to do that because he kept laying down. And on an opponent that's going to continuously lay down for you, you have to work around that. You have to be able to find ways to be offensive and to be able to, maneuver yourself outside of his offense and, be able to land those, significant strikes. And that's what we had planned to do. We knew that he was going to fall to his back a few times probably, and we were going to stand back, initiate. Everybody kept screaming for me to let him up, but I just seen too much of an opening in there, and that's my game, man. It's not necessarily one thing I'm looking for. I'm just looking for an opening. You give me an opening, I'm looking to come through the door. I want to finish the fight, and that's what allowed me to finish most of the fights in my career. Is I don't pass on opportunity. I don't bite on the first thing you give me, but I know for a fucking fact that everybody has glitches in their game. Everybody makes repetitive mistakes. Everybody has bad habits. So that's the kind of thing that I look to exploit in everybody, man. Once you make that mistake once, that was your getaway. That was your get out of jail free card kind of thing. You make that mistake again, and I'm gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, and I think that's what is interesting about the gap between the guys at your level, guys that watch fights, with a pretty good eye like I do, and then the uninitiated fans who don't understand really that you have to overextend yourself. Anything that you want to have in the fight game there's risk involved, and you knew that.
Yeah, it's a risky game.
Yeah. That's what I think. I think was kind of lost in the whole victory of yours was the two things that I thought that didn't get enough credit was one, how you bounced back, which people kind of gave you credit for it, but not to the extent. I mean, it's the same night. One, how you bounced back, and two, how you still knew you had to put yourself in harm's way to win. Those things, I mean, I really take my hat off to you for being able to do both those things. They're huge, and not a lot of guys do them.
Right. No, I take risks in my entire game, man. My entire career, I've taken risks, you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that's allowed me to be able to capitalize on what the mistakes that people make. You know what I'm saying? You can't be aggressive, you know what I'm saying? You can't be too hesitant. You gotta play the happy medium, man. You gotta get in there, you gotta mix it up, you gotta make mistakes, and you gotta take risks, I take risks, and that's what's gotten me submitted a few times, but it's one of them things that, like, it can also play in my favor as well, taking those risks. I go for something, I miss it, you take a shot, you miss. That's what happens sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this game's, it's the biggest epitome of that. And I think that it's probably the most unforgiving game when it comes to that.
Yeah, especially at the level you operate on. I mean, you make a mistake, like you talked about, make a mistake with Jake Shields, it's a little mistake, and then there you go. So, yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get to...
My mistake was letting him up.
Right. Let's get to the champ. First off, Justin Gaethje, where do you and he stand personally? I know that after the fight he said that he got his dream to fight you. You kind of disagreed with that a little bit, that you didn't think that that's really what he wanted. So is there real beef between you guys, or where do you stand with him today?
I really don't have anything. Nothing in my career has been personal with anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's do what you want to build up the fight. You know what I'm saying? And he says it's funny that what made me mad, when you see me go talk to him in the middle of the cage when I said something, is like he said he did an interview before the fight, and he said that I use my mouth, to build fights. I've never done that. I've never talked shit. I've never, built up a fight with pre-fight antics. I've always just accepted the fight laid before me because the guy's supposed to beat me, so it's built up enough. I'm always the underdog coming into every damn fight. Everybody I've ever fought is supposed to beat me up. So there's no point for me to talk shit. That's already done. You know what I'm saying? Right. Defend myself? Maybe. I might defend myself. But the thing is I was like, he took it to heart when I said that if he didn't understand that I was coming for him, or he didn't pay attention to that fight, and that didn't send chills down his back when I knocked out Burley, then there was something fucking wrong with him, which, to my credit, that's pretty much the extent of it. You know what I'm saying? He should have. To take notice, motherfucker, because I'm here. Not so sure that I used my mouth to do that. And when I whooped Palomino's ass, I went up to him and told him I used my mouth to whoop his ass. Did you see those words knock him out? You know what I'm saying? It was one of those kind of deals. And after that, it was just kind of whatever. The World Series of Fighting said what they said, and I kind of half-assed apologized for it because, after a fight, man, your emotions run high, and when you're a violent dude like I am in the sense, they kind of tend to take a turn for the worse sometimes, and I kind of got the best of me at the moment. So I apologize, man. There's nothing personal there. He's a great up-and-coming champion, man. He's a great athlete, and I'm very pleased and very happy to be fighting him. But at the same time, I think the best of him is yet to come, because as soon as I whoop his ass, then he's going to reevaluate some stuff and probably learn a lesson or two and might be better than he ever was.
That's true, and obviously, you don't need a guy like me to defend you. But what I will say is, I think that what people miss with you when they talk about your mouth is, I just think you're a passionate guy and you speak the truth, and they're viewing that as, kind of gassing fights up or say. I mean, listen, we did that interview. That's how you felt. I don't know that you were doing it to pump a fight. That's how you felt. You said, "Listen, I just put on a show, and he should be taking notice of me." I just think that was you being honest.
Yes, that's exactly it. I wasn't trying to get to him, and it wasn't anything personal. I said that in the interview too. It was just one of them things that, like, you have to take notice. It's like, oh damn, that motherfucker, I'm gonna get to fight that guy.
Right.
That's all I was saying. It's like, and for him to take that personal, then that's his own, that's his own fucking problem. But I have no disrespect to him, and I mean no disrespect. I don't hate the kid. I respect every fighter, man. It takes a lot to do what we do, man. And I applaud any and everybody that gets in there, And I'm really looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to helping him grow, helping him achieve stuff, and helping him learn a lesson.
Yeah, and so let's talk about him as a fighter. What do you see? And I want to do this sort of from like 30,000 feet, if you will. What do you see when you watch Justin Gaethje fight? What comes to mind?
Aggressive. Always stepping forward. Always he brings the fight to you. You know what I'm saying? If you stand in front of him, you're going to take some punishment. You know what I mean? If you initiate confrontation, then he's going to play counter punch with you, and he's going to land, and he's going to be strong, and he's going to be, like I said, he hits hard. So outside of that, not a lot, man. I don't see a whole lot of mixture of the martial arts. I just see an aggressive little Tasmanian devil that likes to punch and kick people and, catch him up in his web of destruction. And it's one of them things that not a lot of people have been able to do to me, man. You know what I'm saying? The one chink in my armor, he doesn't have the tools to necessarily, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't have the best tools necessarily to defeat me, man. If you look at my record, I haven't had my ass whooped. So for this boy to say that he's gonna whoop my ass is it's fucking crazy. It's not gonna happen, man. There's nowhere on my resume that it states that that's capable. And because of my heart and because of my passion, I just see a lot of areas where he can still grow. Let's just keep it like that. And whereas I've been in the game a long time, and I've looked to become a different kind of fighter as far as being more complete and having those ways that I can beat you that you don't expect, and causing problems for any and everybody. So as far as Justin goes, I mean, he's just a little too one-dimensional for me. The harder he tries, the more of an ass whooping I'm going to bring to him. I hope he steps forward. I hope he ducks his head. I hope he does that same shit he's done every one of his fights, because if he ain't changing shit up, and this is going to be a really, really short night for him, it's really easy to study for somebody like that, outside of trying to study for somebody like me when you don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, up and down your resume, the only person that ever finished you on with strikes is Diego Brandao, and that was 100 years ago. So
that was 100 years ago before I had a legitimate camp. I didn't know. I was training myself out of my garage.
Yeah.
And the thing about it was, a lot of people don't know this. That fight was outside, and it was fucking raining.
Wow, that's crazy. I've never heard that story before.
Yeah, it's crazy. And he didn't fucking hit me as hard as the mat did. Because when I slipped and fell on my back, you know what I'm saying, my head whiplashed off the mat, and I turned and rest off the fight. It wasn't like he did anything to do it.
That's such the crazy thing about MMA. You look down somebody's resume and you think we know Diego Brandao, we obviously know you, but you never know the story that goes with all these fights, unless you see the fights. All right.
No, man. Everybody that I've ever fought is supposed to have beat me, man. I've been the underdog every fight I've ever had. So, and this is probably no different. The smaller, undefeated guy is going to beat a more experienced, bigger guy. You see the story played out all the time, man. And the cards are in my favor as much as underdog as I am, and I love being a fucking underdog. And the thing about it is I'm going to surprise everybody. I'm going to shock everybody. I'm not going to shock myself. I'm not going to surprise myself, because I know what I'm capable of. But everybody that wants to tune in and ride that boy's nuts, be sure to check in and send me a text afterwards, and I'll reply to you.
So when I look at you guys, here's what I see. I see you guys both have great wrestling backgrounds. You use it largely to keep it on the feet. I see you as a cleaner striker, and I see Justin with more power. So what do you think the path to victory is? Do you think, the floor, the feet? You got a lot of ways to go.
Like I said, man, I'm not counting on any one way to beat him. If him stepping forward, he wants to step forward and throw punches, then I know right where his chin's at because he tells you every time he leads with his forehead. So where's that tell you his chin's at?
Yeah. Hoping for that uppercut.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's you're a victim of your own fucking mouth. You know what I mean? I know right where your chin's at, man. So lead with your forehead because I'm going to hit you with elbows in your forehead and I'm going to hit you with my fist in your chin. So it is what it is, man. I'm going to rock him on my feet. He's going to fall on his back, and I'm going to hammer fist him until it's over. The ref's still stop the fight, and if he don't, the blood's going to probably end up with brain damage.
Let's talk about your team real quick. I'll be talking to your coach later in the week, Mark Montoya. So who's going to be in your corner, and just tell me how they've affected your camp.
Man, I'm going to have the same guys in my corner as always, brother. Mark Montoya, my head coach, Factory X Muay Thai. You know, he's a mastermind. He's a fucking genius when it comes down to the striking game. He's one of the best striking coaches I've ever had, one of the best striking coaches in the game, and I couldn't ask for a better one. I got my BJJ professor, Gerard Pugsley. He is a black belt under Dean Lister, and been in the game for countless years, man. Seen countless champions. He's a wizard, man, and I didn't have him in my corner in that tournament, which kind of fucked with me a little bit as far as the jiu-jitsu part of it went. But he'll be there this time. I have my cousin who has always supported me and backed me and always been there for me, knows what to say, knows what to do, and just takes care of everything for me. And then Justin Gaethje, who you just seen win the Glory kickboxing tournament last weekend. He'll be in my corner. Me and the kid's been together for a really long time. He's really excellent competitor, really excellent athlete, awesome striker, and again, he knows exactly what to say, and he takes care of everything that I need. So I'm surrounded by a lot of good gentlemen, man. We'll have a lot of fans there, Justin and I both, and yeah, man, it's going to be a spectacular evening, and it's going to be awesome to watch. So I suggest everybody tunes in. NBC Sports Network, March 12th, World Series of Fighting.
All right, I'm going to get you out of here a few more questions. I want to do just a few personal things, and then we'll get you going. Let's talk about the Foster name a little bit. Two people who share that name, I would imagine, are your late brother and your sons. So, or your son and I met at the tournament. Let's start with your brother. Explain the effect that your brother has had on your journey.
It's one of those things, man. Life, it's here and it's gone. You know, and as long as you keep that close to you, you live every day a little sweeter. You don't take advantage of so much, and you know, you become more passionate about every day. And it's one of those things. That's why I keep him so close. I mean, not so much that, you know, to bring the gray cloud over everything, but to keep the light and let the sun shine in my life, man. You know what I'm saying? He was a very positive person, ultra positive person, and very funny and very, very awesome individual. And but he always pushed me. He always motivated me. He always wanted me to train. Always wanted me to box. But I was just young, man. I didn't have whatever it is that I gained when he died. So when he died, I didn't give a shit anymore, man. I didn't care anymore. And you kind of see that in my fights, man. I throw inhibition to the wind and let's fucking go, man. I bite down on my mouthpiece and we'll take it wherever it goes, man. And he gives me that. He gives me that strength. He gives me the chance and the opportunity to take every day and make it a little sweeter and you know, take every day with a grain of salt, man. Keep a smile on my face, stay motivated, and keep pushing. You know, it's just one of those things, man.
All right, so that's what. And the next question was going to be, what part of your brother do you take with you into cage? You think that's it? Just the part that gave you the freeness to say, okay, you know, throw.
I think every bit of my brother in the cage, man. You know what I'm saying? He was an awesome individual. You know, the heart, the passion that he had for what he did. You know, and everything else, the passion that he had in our family, and the love that he had for our family. I take it all, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not something I take in there with me, but I never lose sight of it. You know what I'm saying? I think of it all the way. It kind of helps me focus and kind of keeps me down to earth, and keeps me humble, and it helps me grow, man. And I'm very thankful still to this day for who he is and what he did and the impact he made on my life.
All right, and real quick, we'll touch on your sons again. I met your son at World Series of Fighting 25, but you have more than one son, right? How many boys do you have?
I do. I have 3 boys, man, and I actually have a daughter who's in Texas with her mom. But yeah, I have 3 sons: Alex, Ashton, and Austin. You met Alex, who is my oldest. I have Ashton, who is my middle son. He is 11, and then my baby is 9 years old, and his name's Austin Foster. Man, they're spectacular kids, man. They're awesome individuals, very, very awesome athletes. up and coming, probably more so the future of the sport, and that's why I'm so passionate about making it grow, because I want better for my sons, and my sons want to do what their dad does, so I have to make this sport better for them. And people want to give me shit all the time because I'm always calling out stupid shit, 68-year-old women getting their ass up in a cage, or Bimbo and Kimbo almost dying, and fucking Shamrock and Boyce coming out of retirement to fucking, you know what I'm saying? It's just being made a mockery of, man, and I would really... you don't see fucking NFL athletes coming out at 45 years old or 50 years old and jumping on the fucking field, putting their shoulder pads and the helmet back on, do you? You don't see a fucking 68-year-old woman holding a bat, getting a fucking 98-mile-an-hour fastball thrown in her head, do you? It just makes no sense to allow it in our sport when it's not allowed in the other one. There's a difference. You know what I'm saying? And to not realize that shit just aggravates me, man. And my sons are the future of this sport, and I'm going to continue to rag on shit like that until somebody steps up to change it. Even if it's me after I retire and I get a political spot in the situation where I have a say-so. Because all I am right now is a voice. I'm a voice with a fist, and somebody opens their mouth a little too wide, I'm going to knock the teeth down their throat. Because I'm so passionate about this sport, I hate that shit. Especially when somebody tries to tell me the rights and the wrongs of the sport, because you can't. I've been in it too long.
Yeah, and I guess, and we're going to talk about this here in a second, but just to kind of, I guess, tee this up for you, in terms of looking at being best 155-pounder in the World Series of Fighting, wearing that belt, do things like knowing that you're a former champion, and I'm talking about when you retire, if you were to win this belt, you kind of understand that
when I win this belt,
when you win this belt, it's going to carry more weight in retirement. Your son's careers, your ability to affect change in the sport. Is that something that's sort of on the table for you? Talk to me about winning the title and what all that means.
That's it, man. I told everybody at the beginning of everything, beginning of my career, I want to be the best. When I lost to Diego and it was a hometown fight in front of my hometown, and it was raining, and the circumstances and the environment just pissed me off, and I was done. I quit. I retired then. I had nothing to do with it no more. If I couldn't move out of where I was from and go train with the best in the world to become the best in the world, so I can stop feeding myself, I feel like once you stop growing and once you become the best somewhere, you're done. It's time to retire, because now it's nothing. Everybody's going to figure you out. You're going to get yourself hurt. And until I moved out of that, until I moved out and started training those people, I was done. Well, I went to the hit squad, and my career continued, and you've seen me in the UFC. You know what I'm saying? And then, unfortunately, an accident happened there, but I never gave up. I still continued to train with the best in the world, and went and won the international world title, and and then come back to the States only to be coming and fighting for the World Series of Fighting lightweight title. So yes, in the end, there is hopefully a spot. I'm still growing, man. I past all this pre-fight antics and build up and curse words and swear words and stuff like that. Yes, I hope that there is a position for me somewhere available, because needless to say, promoters are going to want my sons to fight because they've trained their entire life. And not only have they trained, but they trained for fighting. They haven't trained for wrestling specifically. They haven't trained jiu-jitsu specifically, or boxing specifically. They train to fight, and my sons are the future of the sport. So anybody and everybody that wants my sons to compete, and they are the best in the world. I'm not the best in the world. They are. So for them to want them to compete, I have a little bit of a say-so. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Whether they want to incorporate me in having some kind of a say-so and having some kind of a play in how the sport transitions into the mainstream, then that's on them. You know what I'm saying? Dana and all them motherfuckers, they have an apology to issue me, first off. And I'm a pretty southern individual, so that means more to me than money. The thing is I know my sons will compete in the UFC. I have no, to reiterate back on that, I don't have any harsh or any bad feelings to the UFC. It was safety, fighter safety, precautions or whatever. But, you could have at least said, hey, man, we're sorry, but, or, I'm saying, whatever. But it was just like, ouch, get off my hip, and you're on my shoulder. We don't want to hear about this. Get out of my, stay out of my pocket and stay off my show. So you owe me an apology, and then my sons can fight for you. And then, or, or there's belts or there's other routes. But for the future, for the sport to grow, man, it's going to take all the novelty fights, all the legends, hoisting the motherfuckers need to stay retired, stop tarnishing what it is that guys like me hold dear to us, by coming out of retirement and looking to get themselves hurt, or making a mockery of the sport. I understand it's drawing attention and other fans want to see it, all these guys, but that's not it. That's not the sport. The sport has grown exponentially. And it's just one of those things, man. It's got to take a turn. All those novelty fights need to go to Japan or other parts of the country, because we are the best at everything, and that shit just shows that we are incompetent, and we are not willing to accept change.
I hear you.
I don't like it.
No, I'm with you. And this is another thing we're talking about earlier. The passion. The passion is there. It's not like you're trying to pick a fight with Dana. It's not like you're trying to do all these things. It's that you're passionate about how you feel. And if someone can't see through the passion to understand the point that you're trying to make, then they're going to miss the point. I agree with you. I think that you could be a very important member of the MMA community moving forward, especially if your sons come to fruition as you feel they will. Then there's going to be there's a huge role for you in the sport. Now, let me get you out of here on this. Take me through the 30 seconds before you take the walk to the cage. You're behind the curtain. What thoughts are going through your head right before you go through that curtain and make that walk?
Just situation awareness, man. Everything, me and Justin, I think that's probably one of the biggest things that we have in common is that we go and we shut our brains off, man. Everything's reaction, everything's movement, everything's timing. It's what we train to do. We just shut our minds off, and everything that's going through there is position and situation. So, we just go in there where you react, and then we recap afterwards. It's one of those deals, man. There's not a whole lot of thinking that goes into that shit. You got to let that go, or your emotions will get the best of you. And, I've seen plenty of people be beat by themselves before they had even stepped foot in there. So, but to go back for 1 second, man, I want to reiterate on everything. I do not have hard feelings in the UFC. I do not have hard feelings against Justin Gaethje. I do not hate people. I'm just a good old country boy that likes, that says how he feels and talks how I, says what I mean what I say, man, when it comes down to it. That's it. I told everybody I was going to win the tournament. I told everybody I was going to be fighting for the title, and I'm telling everybody right now I'm going to win this title. And Justin's going to be better for it. You know what I'm saying? So, this is what it is. You got two young, hungry athletes coming up, fighting for what they believe in, and it's going to be one hell of a show, man. So please, please, please tune in. Do not miss this and support your fighter. Stand behind them, win or lose. Do not talk shit about him. Hold him high, and stick behind him, win or lose. Okay, because you don't win and lose. You win and learn. So.
Sounds great. There you have it, fans. I think that honestly, Brian, this is the most anticipated, or should be the most anticipated fight in the history of the World Series of Fighting. I mean that in all sincerity. I think it's this is the biggest test of Justin Gaethje's career, without a doubt.
Absolutely.
And he's one of the biggest stars in the promotion. Brian, thanks for your time. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media.
Yeah, man, if you need to get a hold of me, you can get hold of me at Brian Foster on Facebook. You can get hold of BrianFosterMMA.com. You can get hold of Brian Foster MMA on Twitter. And either or, just any kind of social media, man, just tag me in it, and then I'll respond the best way possible. Just keep it clean, keep it nice, and let's build the sport, man.
All right, Brian, I appreciate the time. Good luck this weekend.
All right, buddy, I appreciate it.
All right, fans, there you have it. He is the #1 lightweight contender in the World Series of Fighting, taking on Justin Gaethje, the undisputed champion, this weekend. The fight is World Series of Fighting 29 at Bank of Colorado Arena in Greeley, Colorado. It is on NBC Sports Network, and be sure and check it out. Brian will be there, Justin will be there. It'll be the most, again, said it countless times, the most anticipated fight in the history of the World Series of Fighting, perhaps the best fight in the World Series of Fighting's history. Check it out.